Information as we get started with the 208 lab. There will be an announcement here on Monday morning. You can check that out. The two parts to the lab. The first part of the lab, let's go over to the class plan here. And I've changed a couple of the dates, which you should notice. So on Monday, you have the lesson 207, water, and a quiz that's due. So there'll be a password in the announcements. Remember, on the due date, you can get 2 takes for the quiz. After the due date, you're only going to get 1 take. The recording that's going to be posted there, which is a 208A lab prep recording. And you're going to complete that recording, view it, and you're going to go ahead and complete the survey, which is where you actually get your credit from. Then on Tuesday, we're also going to have a Class Connect session, but that is going to actually be for the mid-unit test. And I've switched the dates. The mid-unit test is now going to be due on Thursday, and your lab is going to be due on Wednesday. So I spread things out a little bit more. Indicate I'm not going to have a Class Connect on Thursday because I'm going to be out at the BGSU events. But all the things are spelled out in your announcements when you get there on Monday, and just follow the plan. Okay, here we go. For 208 for Wednesday, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go in and look at the lesson objectives in the introduction. You're going to go through and look at the laboratory assignment, which goes through and explains a little bit more about indicators, and we're going to talk about that in a second. Okay. And then when you're done there, which is, again, it's preparatory information, which is a guide, and you're also going to have your, which I'm going to click on right here. Okay, it's leaving your course, and it's going to go over to where your lab report is. But your lab report is updated. It's been right here. Click on that. That'll download the lab report, and then when you're complete with your lab report by Wednesday midnight, there'll be the Dropbox again. You can't see it here, but you will have it in your area. So here's the lab. Let's see. I'm going to move this over a little bit here. Okay. Go through the tutorial. It'll walk you through exactly what you need to do, how you need to do it. And I'm going to show you a couple of tricks to what to do. So here we go. Start. What I do is I scale all the way down, and then I press down the control button with my pinky, and I use my mouse to change the size of the viewing area. So now I have it much enlarged. I can see it better. It's a lot easier to work with. I enjoy that a lot more. So that's what I'm going to do to get started here. Hold on. Go. Now, the other thing you're going to want to obviously do is make sure you have your student guide. It indicates what's going on, and we'll walk through that. Again, it's really important you understand what this lab is about. We are testing macromolecules. But what are macromolecules? They're large molecules. So, large molecules, carbohydrates, proteins, lipids. I'm not going to look at nucleic acids, but they're there as well. So, carbohydrate, again, is a starch. It can be formed, they have carbon because they're organic, but in mammals, they're basically in the form of glucose. They can also be fructose, maltose. In plants, they're actually starch. So bread would be a starch. Okay. Lipids, we find them in glycerol, which is hydrocarbon. Hydrogen and carbon, and then in proteins, you have amino acids, which are again made up of carbon. So we're going to look through this. Now, what is an indicator? An indicator tells you something. Okay. If you have a magnet and you move a magnet over a piece of wood, it doesn't react. It doesn't do anything because it's not indicating the presence of what? Steel. Okay. If you wave a magnet over aluminum, aluminum is not a steel. What we have up here, which is nails, it will indicate, it will attract or repel. So those are some of the concepts you're going to need to look at for this. Now your student guide, I'm not going to read all through this, but as you see, we're going to go through and we're going to test for starch. Starch, when it's present with iodine, will turn a color dark blue. And we'll do that and walk you through the procedures. Okay, and we'll do a control and we'll do a test. For protein with copper sulfate, albumin, which is a protein present, it will turn black. And for a lipid, we're going to use vegetable oil. 3 present, it will turn red. And as you walk through these, what you're looking for is not a mixing, but an where a change has happened. A reaction is the term we're going to do. We're going to take water, and we're going to use water as what? Water for control. So we're going to fill up our control. Put that back in. And then we're also going to use albium. And we're going to take vegetable oil in our test for lipids. Okay. What are we doing? Okay, well, we're testing for starch. We're saying over here in our starch control, what reacts with starch? Well, if you bring up our guide, okay, when starch is present with iodine, it turns blue. So what we're going to do is we're going to take iodine. We know there is no starch in water. Control. Okay, when we mix water and iodine, water is clear, iodine is brown. So when you mix them together, okay, there is no change. It's a mixing. Okay, it's a mixing process. But watch, when you put iodine with starch, what happens? It changes color because there is a reaction going on. That's what this process is showing. You're going to go through and you're going to do the same thing. Sodium hydroxide and copper sulfite, again, for the protein control and for the protein, and 3 for the lipid control and for the lipid test. That's what you're going to go ahead and do. And then what we're going to do after you've gone through and done that, you're going to set up milk in your vials, as well as something that's called an unknown. We don't know what it is. The unknown from here. Where you're going to go and test it. We already have our control. Remember, our controls are over here. If it's going to be a starch, it's going to turn purple. If it's going to be a protein, whatever is in your test for protein color and whatever is tested for lipid. So you're going to go ahead and you're going to put in, okay, starch. Let's say for the unknown. That, I just messed that one up. So that's why we can go through and do another lab. I can go ahead and start from scratch, which is really good. Okay, have it. Now we know in the unknown, here is what we have as a test for starch. Here is what we have indicated is a positive reaction for a starch. Very similar. And what you're going to do is you're going to do the same thing to see if there is protein in the unknown, lipid in the unknown, starch. Sorry, milk. Milk has the protein, or milk has the lipid. You're going to test for those. And that's what you're going to go ahead and. Now here's your lab report, and I'm going to walk you through that. Yeah, and this is what I'm suggesting. Okay, I'd like to put little indicators to say, indicating, well, what does iodine indicate? The presence of carbohydrates. What does copper sulfate and sodium hydroxide indicate? Proteins. What does 3 indicate? Lipids. So you have as much information as you have. Then, when we go through and we test our starch, okay, we're actually only testing starch for what? For carbohydrates. Why? Because we know it's a carbohydrate. So we're using that to indicate and say, this is what a starch looks like. With iodine, this is what a positive reaction looks like. We're not testing for protein, or we're not testing for lipids. And vice versa. Albumin, which is a protein, that's where we're going to get a response. Now, don't just write yes or no. Write what happened. What is the reaction? Okay, was it a color change? Did it bubble? Did it pop? What happened there? And then you're going to do the same thing for the unknowns. And we're in milk. Now, write complete thoughts. Write what you believe. Okay? Macromolecule is because it reacted and ended up the same color as what protein test was. Okay? Write what happened and why do you think that is the case. Okay? That's what you need to do for full credit. Water in the test tube. Okay? Why did we use water? Okay? How did we use water? What did we mix water with? Why did it happen? Describe the chemical indicator. Okay, what is it? What is it used for? How does it work? And again, go back to your lesson if you need to. Okay. Testing is a survey, which you will find in the announcement. So you need to complete that survey. And that's how I'm actually going to get your credit or get you your credit. I will post it in the gradebook. All you need to do is complete the survey correctly. You have to make sure you're correct. And if you have a problem, contact me or you can complete it again. No more than 2 times max. Okay, you guys should have this down by now. If you have any questions, any issues, let me know and I'll get back with you. Thanks. This should be a real fun lab. Now remember, due on Tuesday, your lab is due on Wednesday, and then the test, the mid-unit test, is due on Thursday. That's the way the plan has it. That's what I'll expect from you. Thank you and have a great day.